So let's begin our chapter 1, Introduction to Statistics. So what are the lecture key points? You're going to distinguish between economic and non-economic activities. Again, it's a very basic thing, but yes, we are going to touch upon it. We are going to identify different types of economic activities. We will determine statistics in plural and singular sense. We'll understand the various functions of statistics, limitations of statistics. We'll analyze the distrust of statistics. I'm sure we all know the meaning of distrust and words like limitations and functions, etc. We will understand the relationship between statistics and economics, and lastly, statistics and economic planning. All right? Okay, let's go ahead. The first thing is basic thing. A customer is a person who buys goods to satisfy his wants. Now, what does this satisfaction mean and what are these wants? This is a very detailed topic and we are going to touch it in the microeconomics course. But as of now, in the statistics case, you just need to know who is a customer. Is a person who buys goods to satisfy his wants or desires. Next, who is a producer? A producer is a person who produces or manufactures goods. Now, activities. Activities are divided into two types: economic activities and non-economic activities. Now, what are economic activities? An economic activity means that activity which is based on or related to the use of scarce resources for the satisfaction of human wants. To put it differently, economic activity is anything that is related to money or wealth. So this is something very basic. If you ask anybody what is an economic activity, the person will say, oh, it's related to money or finance or wealth. But in economics, we have a specific definition for it. And what's that? It is that activity which is based on or related to the use of scarce resources. This is the term. And again, for the satisfaction of human wants. Now let's come to non-economic activity. These activities are those which have no economic aspects or are not concerned with money or wealth, etc. Let's move ahead. Economic activities. What types are there for economic activities? First is production. Now, production is something very basic. We all know it. It is that activity which is concerned with increasing the utility or value of goods and services. Now, if you ask a layman what is production, the person will say, oh, it's just production. You're producing goods. What is production? How to define it? It is just production. But if you talk to or if you ask a statistician or an economist what is production, he will tell you it is concerned with increasing the utility. You see here, it is concerned with increasing the utility or value of goods and services. That's the specific definition. Let's go ahead. Second type of economic activity is consumption. Okay. What is consumption? It is that economic activity which is concerned with the use of goods and services for the direct satisfaction of individuals and collective wants. So we all know this. Third activity is investment. Now, what is investment if you ask a layman? If I ask you what is investment, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? Well, you can always keep it in your mind and then relate it with what is going to come up. Investment is that activity which is concerned with purchasing of capital goods for further production of goods and services. So when you are purchasing a capital good, what is a capital good first of all? Now, when we study investment, when we study core economics, like microeconomics, macroeconomics, there we are going to talk about these capital goods, these investment, etc., in detail. As of now, we can simply understand that capital goods are basically the tools. So that tool you're buying, why you're buying that tool? For further production of goods and services. For example, I have bought this laptop. Why have I bought this laptop? So that I can teach you. So my motive is further production of a service, online teaching. But what I have bought for it? I have bought the laptop. So this laptop is a capital good. Next is exchange. So when you're dealing in exchange, sale and purchase of commodities, this is also an economic activity. Distribution. It deals with the determination of price of factors of production. For example, land, labor, capital, enterprise. These are the four factors of production, and when you're dealing with determining their price according to the work they're doing, that is the distribution. Because eventually, whatever you're producing in the economy will go in the hands of people. Now, who receives how much is basically an economic activity. I hope you've understood this. Let's move ahead. Non-economic activities. Now, non-economic activities, as we have discussed, it's nothing to do with the wealth or money or the scarcity of resources, etc. As far as the context of performing these activities is concerned. So these are something like social activity. Let's say somebody is in depression and you're just counseling that person. You're not charging anything. You're just being a friend. You're being benevolent. Then religious activities. You visit temples and you perform certain activities. Political activities. You're being part of a rally, right? Charitable activities. You're teaching somebody for free, but that is not going to earn you anything, but then you're doing it. Parental activities. You're teaching your child how to cycle, how to walk, or how to anything that you're going to teach. Now, definition of economics. Now, economics, let me tell you that it can be defined in various ways, but the crux remains same. Also, there have been so many economists who have defined economics in different ways. But let's see the basic definition. It's a branch of knowledge with economic activities relating to earning and spending the wealth and income. So this is just a basic way. Next, it is the study of how human beings make choices to allocate scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants in such a manner that customers can maximize their satisfaction, producers can maximize their profits, and society can maximize its social welfare. Now, this definition seems to be quite lengthy, but you can just break it into two. So just read it till here. It is the study of how human beings make choices in every sphere of life. Why we have to make choices? Because we have limited resources. For example, time. So every time you have to make a choice how to allocate it, how to use it to satisfy your want. Suppose you're sitting here, you're studying, you could have done something else as well at this particular time. But you took the decision to use this scarce resource to sit here and study. Okay, I hope you've understood till here. So economics is the study of how human beings make choices to allocate scarce resources to satisfy their unlimited wants in such a manner so that customer you can maximize your satisfaction. Producer, I can maximize my profit, and overall society can maximize its social welfare. So I hope this definition makes sense to you now. I must say again that there are various things related to it which we are going to study in detail in microeconomics. Statistics can be defined in two senses, singular sense and plural sense. But if you ask a layman, okay, what is statistics? Or if I ask you, what is statistics? You won't tell me, oh, it means in singular sense it means this, and in plural sense it means this. So there is a basic way of defining it, and that is statistics is the study of collection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Now please take care that the sequence goes this way only. It is the study of collection of data, organization of data, presentation, analysis, and then interpretation of data. There's a good logic behind it. We are going to study in the later stage. So this definition is also in the singular sense, the statistics in singular sense. And in singular sense, it is a method. Let's talk about statistics in plural sense. Now, Horace Secrist gave a very good definition in plural sense. He said, by statistics we mean aggregates of fact affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes, numerically expressed, enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standards of accuracy, collected in a systematic manner for a predetermined purpose, and placed in relation to each other. Now, to learn this definition is a good job, right? So we are going to break this definition into various pieces, so that you can understand, you can learn it very easily. You just need to learn 7 points. So according to Horace Secrist, statistics in plural sense is statistical data. What kind of data? Number 1, it is aggregates of fact. Number 2, affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes. Third, numerically expressed. Fourth, enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standards of accuracy. Collected in systematic manner for a predetermined purpose, placed in relation to each other. Okay, let's break it into 7 pieces and see. First, statistics are aggregates of facts. Remember one thing, that an individual data is never statistics. It is always aggregate of facts that becomes data. For example, if I say that I am 5.6 inch tall, it makes no sense as far as statistics is concerned. Okay, so when we talk about data, when we talk about statistics, it always has to be two figures, more than that. For example, in a class of 30, 15 students are below 50 kg weight and rest 15 are above 50 kg weight. So this becomes data because we are comparing. So it's aggregate of facts. Next, statistics are affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes. There are various reasons why this data is so. Why there are 15 students who are below 50 kg of weight. So there are reasons behind it. Why a country which was growing at the rate of 7.5 last year is growing at the rate of 6.5 this year. So there are reasons why this is happening. Next, statistics are numerically expressed. When you express data, it is numerical. It is not something for example, I am so good, or for example, I am better than her. I am better than her is again a comparison, it's again an aggregate of fact, but it is not numerically expressed. So something which is not numerically expressed is not data. Then, statistics are enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standard of accuracy. So when you are collecting data, when you are estimating data, it is not necessary that it has to be or it would be or it will be 100% accurate. There is a reasonable standard of accuracy. Okay, there could be 98% accuracy, 95%, 96%. Next, statistics are collected in a systematic manner. So data has a systematic manner. For example, I ask you, I want to know the marks obtained in mathematics of class 11th students in your school. What are you going to do? You're going to go to each and every student and ask his marks. There is a systematic manner in it. Next, statistics are collected for a predetermined purpose. Like I said, I want to know the marks of students of class 11th in mathematics. Right? So there's a predetermined purpose. Similarly, if I say I want to know the population of India, there's a predetermined purpose. Statistics are placed in relation to each other. So suppose you're calculating data, how many people are there in your colony who receive income more than 1 lakh per month. So you're going to make a list of those people, then you're going to put it in relation to those who are not receiving 1 lakh. That is what it means. So 7 points, 7 keywords, you can put them into a definition form like this. And just to learn, just to make it easy, you can learn it this way. Okay, let's go ahead. Singular sense. In singular sense, as defined by Croxton and Cowden, statistics is a method. So when we talk about plural sense, statistics is statistical data. When we talk about in singular sense, statistics is a method, is a process. All right. According to Croxton and Cowden, statistics is collection of data, B, organization of data, C, presentation of data, D, analysis of data, and last, interpretation of data. So the sequence goes like this only, and there are 5 steps in this method. Let us put these 5 steps into a particular definition, and I'm very sure that you can define it by your own self. So it is the study of collection, organization, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. Speak this definition 5 times in your mind. I am sure you're going to learn all these 5 steps. Next topic, functions of statistics. Now, I'm sure that if I ask you what are the functions of statistics, there would be many things that would suddenly come into your mind. But how to categorize it? First, statistics simplifies complex data. For example, if you see this picture, the heading says major sources of rubbish. This is for any country or any city. We are just considering an example. Now, it is so difficult to calculate that plastic has 35% of the share, glass has 10% of the share, metal 9%, right? It's so difficult to calculate. Okay, so first thing we have discussed, it simplifies complex data. Next, it presents the facts in definite form. Statistics has a definite form that in which the data can be presented. For example, if I write Sham is taller than Ram, right? Now, statistics is not this. It has to be written like Shyam is 1 inch taller than Ram. So this makes sense. So statistics has a definite form. Then third, it provides a technique of comparison. For example, in this case, we can see that in 2011, Gurgaon has these many numbers of auto lifters, theft cases you can say, and in 2010 the number was this. So the number has significantly increased. All right, in Panipat also, and then Faridabad, Hazar, Rohtak, etc. So statistics provides a technique of comparison as well. Okay, next function, it studies relationship. For example, this picture. Now, on the x-axis, I hope you all know this is the x-axis. Q represents quantity. And on the y-axis, we are measuring P. P means price. So when you study relationship between price and quantity, okay, it shows it's a kind of statistics only. For example, at price P1, you are buying how many units? You are buying Q1 units. At price P2, you're buying Q2 units, which means that when price was high, you could buy less. When price falls down to P2, you could buy and you wanted to buy more. So then if you join these 2 points, it becomes a downward sloping curve. Now when we'll study microeconomics, this curve is basically the demand curve. As of now, you only need to know that first you collect data. At price 1, Q1 is demanded. At price P2, Q2 is demanded, right? When you've collected the data, you could derive a relationship between price and quantity demanded. Next, it helps in formulating policies. Whenever any organization collects data, let's say on unemployment and on poverty levels in an economy, using that particular data, the government formulates the future policies. All right. For example, in the IT sector, let's say the unemployment rate is very high. I know I'm saying something which is contradictory, but let's assume it. So in the IT sector, the unemployment rate is very high. What is the government going to do? Government is going to make such policies which are going to make information technology sector a little more liberal, and it's going to attract more employment in future. Now, how that is done, with that we're not going to deal as of now. We can probably talk about it in future. Next, it helps in forecasting. A very simple example of this is weather. Today the weather is this much, so 10 days later the weather is going to be this. It helps to test and formulate theories. We all know that at a particular time there is a particular theory that applies. It may not apply in future when the situation is going to be different, right? For example, if you all have heard of Dalton's theory used to apply at a particular time. Everybody used to believe it, right? but now it is not. Why? Because a theory was formulated in a time period, then in a different time period it was tested again. When it failed, there was another theory that came up. And how it's going to happen, you need to collect, you need to take data for it. So you collect data, you test a theory, and if the existing theory doesn't comply with the existing data, you formulate a new theory. All right, let's go ahead. First, statistics does not deal with individuals. Now, this individuals doesn't mean like me or you. It means individual numerical values. Statistics does not deal with individual data. In fact, I should not use the word data. Individual values are not data. Data is anything more than one, two, or more than two. Next, statistics deals only with quantitative characters. It does not talk about qualitative values. For example, if I say, I am better than her, or I am taller than her, I'm smarter than her, I am more honest than her, but that doesn't mean statistics. Okay? Yeah, unless I say I am 1 inch taller than her, my height is 5.6, her height is 5.5, then it becomes statistical data. Next, statistical results are true only on an average. Next chapter that we are going to study is collection of data. There you'll understand what are the methods and how the collection of data actually takes place. You will understand yourself that whatever the data you're collecting, it need not always be 100% accurate. There's a very, very less percentage when the data that you're collecting is absolutely 100% accurate. It's very rare. Okay, so we are going to take an assumption here that the results are true only on an average. Okay, next. It is only one of the methods of studying a problem. It is not necessary that all the problems under the sky needs to be solved using statistics, needs to be solved using data. It is not necessary. Data or statistics, it's just one of the way of solving a problem. And data or the statistics can be misused. This is something very important, and I'm sure a lot of people do it. Distrust of statistics. Be careful. Don't believe all you see or hear. Now, as the term suggests itself, distrust. You cannot trust statistics. I am not saying that you cannot trust, don't trust at all. I'm not saying this. What I'm trying to tell you is that it is not 100% accurate. It can be manipulated. When I say distrust of statistics, I mean lack of confidence in statistical statements, methods, and data collected. Now, there are reasons why you cannot trust statistical method or data or statements. First, the figures that you see, they are convincing, and therefore people are easily led to believe them. If I write here, suppose, for example, I write here, 75% of people in India use laptops. Doesn't it appear convincing? Yes, it does. And you will easily be led to believe this, but it may not be true. Second, they can be manipulated in such a manner as to establish different conclusions. So if I write 75% of people in India use laptops and hence they are becoming lazy. You see, the same data and how I have manipulated it to reach a different conclusion. Even if correct figures are used, they may be presented in such a manner that the reader is misled. So even if I write something very convincing, and the way I am putting it, the way I am trying to convince you, it could be that I can mislead you. That is why the distrust of statistics is a very important concept these days.